I think most humans have in them the capacity to commit murder. It is not because...
No, we don't, Richard.
They choose not to, not because they are morally superior, as they so commonly claim, but because they are imprisoned.
In the mid-1980s, the state of California was living in a state of fear and panic. A killer who would sneak into homes, choose his victims at random, and leave a trail of unimaginable terror was terrorizing the state's residents. He was known as the Night Stalker. No one knew if he would be the next victim. The man behind this wave of fear was Richard Ramirez. This video is a journey into his dark world. From his childhood, through his horrific crimes, to his capture and eventual death, this story reveals the darkest aspects of human nature. Born of a monster, a traumatic childhood. Ricardo Leyva Munoz Ramirez was born on February 29, 1960, in El Paso, Texas. The youngest child of Mexican immigrants, Richard grew up in an abusive environment from the very beginning. His father was an alcoholic and violent man, frequently physically abusing his family. Richard spent much of his childhood in this cycle of violence. These traumatic experiences left irreparable scars on his psyche. His initiation of drug and alcohol use at the age of 10 was the first step in his dark journey. However, the real turning point was his relationship with his older cousin, Miguel Mike Valles, a Vietnam War veteran. Valles suffered from schizophrenia and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. He frequently bragged about the horrific crimes he had committed during the war and showed Ramirez Polaroid photos of Vietnamese women he had raped and murdered. Many of these photos showed the women's bodies tied to trees or poles. Rather than being repulsed by these atrocities, Ramirez was fascinated by these stories and images. Valles taught him military skills such as stealth and killing tactics. The fact that Ramirez would later use these skills during his murder spree demonstrates the danger of this relationship. During this period, he began frequently sleeping in a local cemetery to escape his father's violence. One night, his father tied him to a cross in the cemetery as punishment. All of these experiences contributed to Ramirez's psychopathological development. Psychiatrist Michael Stone describes him as a made psychopath. He states that Ramirez's schizoid personality disorder made him indifferent to the suffering of his victims. At the age of 14, Ramirez began using LSD frequently. This was the period when his interest in Satanism and the occult began. In his teenage years, he began combining his sexual fantasies with violence. He imagined graphic acts of violence, including forced binding, murder, mutilation, and at night, he would hunt animals in the desert, disembowel them, and feed the entrails to his dog. These behaviors were a testament to the depths of his inner savagery. At 15, he witnessed his cousin Valles murder his wife Jessie during a domestic dispute. This incident further fueled Ramirez's fascination with murder. He dropped out of high school and started working at a Holiday Inn, where he managed to avoid detection while stealing from sleeping customers and children. However, he was fired after attempting to rape a woman. By the way, if you've watched this far and enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe and like. Migration to California and the first murder in 1982. At the age of 22, he left Texas and settled in California. During this period, he became heavily addicted to cocaine. He continued to steal and rob to finance his addiction. This period of his life was spent nomadically between San Francisco and Los Angeles County until his incarceration. Ramirez's first known murder occurred on April 10, 1984, in San Francisco. He followed 9-year-old Mei Lung to the basement of her apartment building. There, he beat, strangled, and stabbed her to death. He hung her body from a pipe. This murder was only solved in 2009 when DNA samples found at the scene matched Ramirez's. It was a testament to how Ramirez's carelessness in leaving a trace could be unearthed even years later. Night Stalker horror and public panic. Ramirez's home invasions in Los Angeles and San Francisco unleashed widespread panic and a wave of moral fear across the state. This frenzy, which began with a single attack in June 1984, culminated in the summer of 1985, leading to one of the largest police manhunts in California history. The media dubbed the killer the Night Stalker. The same moniker had previously been applied to Joseph James DeAngelo, who operated from 1979 to 1981, but was overshadowed by Ramirez's crimes. This led to DeAngelo being dubbed the original Night Stalker. June 28, 1984, 79-year-old Jenny Vinso was found dead in her apartment in the Glassell Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. He had been stabbed repeatedly in the head, neck, and chest, and his throat was nearly severed. Ramirez left his fingerprints on the wire mesh he removed while climbing in through an open window. This was his second murder and the beginning of a pattern of burglaries, either before or after killing his victims. March 17, 1985, he attacked 22-year-old Maria Hernandez in Rosemead, but she survived by defending herself. Ramirez shot her roommate Dale Yoshi Okazaki in the forehead, killing her. An hour later, he pulled Tsai Leon Veronica Yu from her car in Monterey Park, shot her twice, and fled. Yu died in the hospital. These murders, committed in a single day, received widespread media coverage, earning Ramirez nicknames such as the Walking Killer and the Valley Intruder. March 27, 1985, he returned to a house he had burglarized a year earlier and murdered 64-year-old Vincent Charles Zazara in his sleep. After also killing his wife, Maxine Lavenia Zazara, he carved an inverted cross into her body, gouged out her eyes, and placed them in a jewelry box. Ramirez attempted to have sex with Zazara's body, but was unsuccessful. He left footprints on a pair of Avia sneakers at the scene, which would later prove crucial in his arrest. May 14, 1985, Ramirez returned to Monterey Park and killed 66-year-old Bill Doy and his disabled wife, Lillian Doy. May 29, 1985. In Monrovia, he attacked 83-year-old Mabel Ma Bell and her 81-year-old sister Florence Nettie Lang. He raped Lang, tortured Bell with an electrical cord, and drew satanic symbols on the walls. Both women died days after the attack. May 30th, 1985. In Burbank, he took Carol Kyle and her 11-year-old son hostage. He raped Kyle and threatened to gouge her eyes out. July 2nd, 1985. In Arcadia, he beat and stabbed 75-year-old widow Mary Louise Cannon to death while she slept. July 5th, 1985. In Sierra Madre, he struck 16-year-old Whitney Bennett in the head with a tire iron and attempted to strangle her. However, sparks from the electrical cord caused her to panic and flee. Bennett survived with 478 stitches. July 7th, 1985. He brutally beat Joyce Lucille Nelson in Monterey Park. She also sustained an imprint of her Avia sneakers on her face. That same night, he attacked Sophie Dickman, demanding she swear on the devil. July 20th, 1985, he killed Layla and Maxon Needing in Glendale with a machete and a gun. After dismembering their bodies, he killed Chynarong Kovananth and his wife, Somkid Kovananth, in Sun Valley that same night. He also demanded Somkid swear on the devil. August 6th, 1985, he attacked Chris and Virginia Peterson in Northridge, but both survived with minor injuries. August 8th, 1985. In Diamond Bar, he killed Elias Abawath and his wife, Sakina Abawath. He also asked her to swear on the devil. August 18th, 1985. In San Francisco, he killed Peter Pan and severely wounded his wife, Barbara Pan. He drew Jack the Knife and a pentagram in lipstick on the bedroom wall. Traces of an Avia sneaker were also found at the scene of this crime. August 24th, 1985. In Mission Viejo, he attempted to break into the home of James Romero Jr., but fled when spotted by his 13-year-old son. That same night, he attacked Bill Carnes and Inez Erickson. After shooting Carnes, he attacked Erickson and told her, "Tell her the Night Stalker is here." The fall and the capture. The investigation gained momentum when detectives Frank Salerno and Gil Carrillo used the footprints of Avia sneakers to track the brand in its distribution channels. It was determined that only 6 pairs of the shoes, in men's size 11.5, were sold in the United States. Only one of these was sold in Los Angeles. When San Francisco's then mayor, Dianne Feinstein, revealed the gun caliber and other details at a press conference, the detectives were deeply disappointed. They knew the killer would follow the news and destroy evidence. Ramirez did follow the news and throw the sneakers off the Golden Gate Bridge. However, the most crucial pieces of evidence in his capture were the detailed description given by Inez Erickson and a fingerprint taken from a car at Romero's residence. This fingerprint belonged to 25-year-old Ricardo Leyva Munoz Ramirez. Ramirez's criminal record showed numerous arrests for traffic and drug offenses. Police released his photo to the press and appealed for the public's assistance. On the morning of August 31st, 1985, Ramirez returned to Los Angeles by bus. When he entered a convenience store, he saw his own photograph on a newspaper headline. His face was all over the newspapers, bearing the headline, Invasor Nocturno. Panicked, Ramirez began to flee. However, passers-by recognized him. An angry mob caught him and beat him severely. When police arrived, they took the wounded Ramirez into custody. The Night Stalker's terror was over. The trial and eternal punishment. Ramirez's trial began on July 22, 1988. He entered the courtroom with a pentagram on his hand and shouted, "Hail Satan!" The trial was further heightened by the murder of one of the jurors, Phyllis Singletary, by her boyfriend. However, it was determined that the murder had no connection to Ramirez. On September 20th, 1989, Ramirez was found guilty of 43 counts, including 13 murders, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries. On November 7, 1989, he was sentenced to death in California's gas chamber. After the verdict was announced, he sarcastically told reporters, "What's up? Death always comes with the territory. See you at Disneyland." The trial cost $1.8 million and remained the most expensive murder trial in California history until the O.J. Simpson trial in 1994. While in prison, Ramirez received letters from fans, and he married one of them, Doreen Leoy, in 1996. While awaiting execution, Richard Ramirez's appeals were denied on August 7, 2006. After years of legal proceedings, he died on June 7, 2013, from complications of B-cell lymphoma. His body was cremated and unclaimed. The Night Stalker left a terrifying mark on California's history. His story will remain a haunting example of how deep and dark the human spirit can be dragged. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe and like it. I'd appreciate your thoughts in the comments. See you in another video.